This is Small Changes in Teaching, Big Results in Learning by John Fanselow, presented by the TEFLology Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to this podcast series. This episode comes from Chapter 5, Section 3 of the book, and it's called, What Did You Do on the Weekend? Enjoy.
What did you do over the weekend? Subtitle, Questioning Broadly and Questioning Narrowly. First section, the usual and the unusual. 9 times out of 10, we ask students, which require people to consider a very, very wide range of responses. During the, say, 32 waking hours of a weekend, for example, most of us do at least one different thing per hour. So we have to think of one of the 32 things we did to answer the question, what did you do over the weekend? 32 waking hours, at least one thing in each hour. 32 hours to think through to answer the question, what did you do over the weekend? Additionally, we have to try to figure out why we are being asked the question. Is the teacher checking up on whether we did our homework? Is the teacher checking up on whether we spent time playing games on our computer, which the teacher considers a waste of time? Is the teacher wondering whether we helped our parents with household chores? When students do not respond, some teachers assume their students did not do anything. Others think that they are shy. A few think the students need practice with the question, which contains only one word that has any experiential meaning, weekend. The other 6 words in the sentence express only grammatical meaning. If you look each of these up in a bilingual dictionary, it will be very difficult to translate the sentence into a student's first language. One way to see whether we can get more students to respond to our interest in what they did over the weekend is to change this usual broad, general question into a series of specific questions. Another is to have them write the questions down in their notebooks before writing their answers. Here are a few examples of specific questions and prompts that might be easier for your students to answer. 1. Write down 3 people you saw on Saturday and Sunday that you did not see during the week. 2. Write down 3 foods you ate on Saturday that were different from foods you ate during the week at school. 3. Write down the names of TV programs you watched on Saturday with your family. 4. Write down one thing you did that you enjoyed and one thing you did that you did not enjoy. Now you have to remind the students that they don't have to answer the question if in fact they didn't do something that was asked about in the question. So if they didn't watch TV programs with their family, obviously they can't answer the question. So we don't want them to make up stories. We give a lot of questions. Some have nothing to do with their experience, so they don't have to answer them. Next section, writing versus speaking. You will have noticed that in addition to asking more specific questions, I suggest that the students write the questions and their responses. I have found that when students first write down the questions we say aloud, as well as their responses, the number of questions they respond to and the amount they produce for a given response are greater. When we say the questions only one time, many students do not catch what we say. You can also check to see their written versions of your questions and their answers and correct them before they respond aloud. When I have listened to recordings of students' oral responses, I have usually noted from 2 to 4 errors per sentence. Each time a language learner says or writes an incorrect sentence, the error becomes more deeply ingrained in the mind of the learner. So correcting errors immediately in writing before students say the incorrect sentence increases the chances that the students will use and remember correct English. Next section, why? I said that some students might not respond because they do not know why we are asking the question. So every few days, ask the students to write in their first language why they think you are asking them what they did over the weekend. You can ask students to share their reasons, and you can, of course, tell them your reasons. Here are a few reasons students wrote. You want to see if we studied English. You are testing our understanding of your question. You would like us to use English naturally. Here are a few reasons teachers have told me. I want students to communicate in English. I want them to see that we use English to share information, not just to learn grammar and vocabulary. I am curious about what my students do on the weekend. Next section, sharing. When I talk with students, they're very curious about my personal life. They often ask the same general questions teachers ask. What do you like about Japan? For example, well, do they know what foods I like, what trees and flowers I like, what I think of the train system, the convenience stores, etc.? I mean, there are hundreds of things to like about Japan or any other place. Nigeria, where I lived a couple of years, Somalia, where I lived a couple of years. And there are some things to dislike as well. So before you ask students what they did on the weekend, you could write on the board 6 things you did on the weekend, a few you liked, a few you did not like. This would give students a few models and also help them begin to understand why you asked them what they did during the weekend. Next section, just some of the hundreds. Here are just some of the hundreds of sentences that students are saying about what they did over the weekend or what their favorite food is, which impedes their language learning. I meet friend shop. Meant to say, I met a friend and we shopped. 2, we play soccer friends. We played soccer with friends. 3, visit shop center so excite. We visited the shopping center. It was so exciting. 4, sleep more. I slept a lot. I slept more than during the week. So we can translate their experience, what they feel important to share, with the correct version of what they want to share. And here are some comments about food. What's Akiko's favorite food? She's favorite food is choco. Her favorite food is chocolate. She's favorite place is my room. Her favorite place is her room. Final, every morning she eat much sugar. Every morning she eats food with a lot of sugar. So again, we can combine what's important for the students to share their experiences in English with corrected versions. So then over time, when the question is asked, when they're asked to write questions or write answers, they can do so in English
Okay, we hope you enjoyed that. As always, a reminder that these episodes come from edited versions of sections of the book, so please consider looking at the full copy, which can be found in digital form or hard copy form, and you can buy that at Amazon. This episode will be the last for a little while in this limited podcast series, but we will be back later in the year with some more episodes. So we'll be back soon with a regular TEFLology podcast episode. See you then. Goodbye.